Welcome back to Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller. One of the greatest pleasures a hardcore movie fan can experience is the discovery, especially late in one's game, of a film that has slipped through the cracks. Now, this was certainly the case for me when, after years of watching, researching, and writing about film noir, I discovered a dark little jewel that Warner Brothers made in 1951 called Tomorrow is Another Day, which I'm thrilled to present to you today. Now, with such a crummy title, it's no wonder the film escaped critical reappraisal and viewers, which is especially unfortunate because this movie is brimming with simple and stylish pleasures, especially of the noir variety. The lovers on the lam premise should be familiar to anyone who has seen You Only Live Once, or They Live by Night, or Gun Crazy, or Shockproof. In fact, Sam Fuller, the writer of Shockproof, would have had every right to sue for plagiarism, since the last half of Tomorrow is Another Day seems to be lifted straight from his script, made 2 years earlier by Columbia Pictures. I'll give writer Guy Endore the benefit of the doubt and assume that he conjured this story himself. Maybe there was just something in the air in Hollywood at the time. The final draft is by Art Cohen, who back in his sports writing days worked for the Oakland Tribune, and he was a colleague of my father. In the late 40s, Cohen carved out a niche for himself in the movies, working on projects as varied as Roberto Rossellini's Stromboli and the classic boxing noir The Setup. He and Endore produced a script that plays like Gun Crazy if Gun Crazy had been written by John Steinbeck. But it's not really the story that makes this film special. Its director, Felix Feist, was barely a household name in his own home, but he had a flair for depicting volatile characters in confined spaces, as shown in two of his earlier B films, The Devil Thumbs a Ride and The Threat. Those pictures displayed how creatively Feist could manipulate a minuscule budget. But Warner Brothers had bigger plans for this picture, a project once tailored for John Garfield, although the lead ended up being played by Steve Cochran. Now, in the 40s, Cochran was mainly a sinister supporting hunk, and under contract to Warner's, he played swaggering studs in movies like White Heat, The Damned Don't Cry, and Storm Warning, where he's a KKK goon who tries to rape Ginger Rogers. Not a move that will typically get you promoted to leading man status. But as the leader of the Tri-State Gang in a movie called Highway 301, Cochran let you imagine what Elvis Presley would have been if instead of learning to sing or play the guitar, he decided to rob banks for a living. Presley didn't record his first record until a year and a half after this movie was released, but after watching Cochran in Tomorrow is Another Day, I'd call him the Elvis of noir. He gives a much deeper and more vulnerable performance than was usually asked of his tough guy roles. I'm pretty sure it was his performance in this film that convinced Italian director Michelangelo Antonioni to cast Cochran in his 1957 existential drama Il Grido, another high point of the actor's career. Now, I'll have more to say about Cochran after today's feature. His co-star in Tomorrow is Another Day, Ruth Roman, was clearly cut out for noir. Some of her earliest professional work was as a model for the cover of True Detective magazine. By 1950, she had appeared in a number of major movies without ever playing a particularly memorable character. In this one, she got maybe the best role of her career, flinty taxi dancer Kay Higgins, a hard-as-nails dame who gradually opens up to the possibility of kindness and affection. And she's a blonde, a first and only for the actress as far as I know. Prior to this, Roman had made Strangers on a Train for Alfred Hitchcock. Also coming over from that picture is director of photography Robert Burks, whose facility with difficult camera setups and his ability to integrate location footage with back projection is brilliantly displayed in several exciting set pieces. I promise you'll never again see a car carrier on the road and not think of this film. Now look, you're not going to find anything groundbreaking or revelatory in this movie, I think of it more like a familiar jazz standard you've heard hundreds of times, but then you're suddenly surprised to hear it played in a fresh and soulful way, albeit a minor key. You may have taken this trip before, but it's still a great ride. So let's follow this pair of sexy misfits as they go on the run in Tomorrow is Another Day.